Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Dennis Adigunloye. Let's begin with the headlines. Authorities in Sudan issue 15-day ultimatum to foreigners to leave Khartoum and surrounding region. Emergency responders rescue all victims of building collapse in Kubwa. And President, African Development Bank tax leaders to unlock continent's agricultural potential to become a global breadbasket. President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointments of Silas Sagara as the new Director General of the National Directorate of Employment. Mr. Agara is an entrepreneur and sports administrator who previously served as the Deputy Governor of Nasarawa State. The President anticipates an overhaul of the NDE for optimal performance in designing and implementing programs to combat mass unemployment. President Bola Tinubu has also approved the appointment of Umar Ibrahim Mohammed as the new Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. Mohammed is an architect and construction technology and environment professional. The President expects improved outcomes in the agency's objective of operating and maintaining hydrological stations nationwide, as well as carrying out groundwater exploration and monitoring using various scientific techniques in order to provide hydrological and hydrogeological data needed for planning, design, execution, and management of water resources and allied projects. The President has equally approved the appointment of Tosin Adeyanju as the new Executive Secretary of the National Lottery Trust Fund. Mr. Adeyanju is an accomplished administrator and good governance advocate. The President expects the new Chief Executive Officer to ensure transparency and efficiency in the operations of the agency to actualize the objective of the NLTF as a driver of good causes in Nigeria. The President has also approved the appointment of Bafadan Agundi as the new Director General of the National Productivity Center. Mr. Agundi is a former majority leader of the Kano State House of Assembly. He was also the Principal Registrar of the Kano State High Court of Justice. The President anticipates the Director General's utmost dedication and patriotic zeal in driving the center's mandate of developing a national culture of excellence in operational efficiency and institutionalizing a performance-driven orientation towards measurable productivity in the citizenry for the overall enhancement of service delivery and quality of life across the nation. Staying on appointments, President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointments of Saleh Abubakar as the new Director General of the National Agency for the Great Green Wall. Mr. Abubakar is a highly experienced public administrator with decades of experience across several sectors. Also appointed is Mr. Oluwaseun Faleye as the new Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund. Mr. Faleye is a legal and corporate finance specialist. Mrs. Mojisola Oluwa Kende Ali Macaulay is equally appointed as the Executive Director Operations of the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund. Mrs. Ali Macaulay is a former lawmaker and former chairperson of the Lagos State House of Assembly Committee on Women Affairs, Poverty Alleviation and Job Creation. The President has also approved the appointment of Ms. Omolola Bridget Oluwarana as the new Director General of the National Pension Commission, PENCOM. She is a finance and banking expert with many years of experience. The appointment is subject to the confirmation of the Senate. The President anticipates a goal-oriented leadership to drive efficiency and superlative performance in the National Pension Commission as the prime regulator of the Nigerian pension industry. The President has approved the appointments of Mr. Jobson Ewalefo as the new Director General of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. The appointment is subject also to the confirmation of the Senate. The President also approved the appointments of Mr. Cornelius Oluwasegun Adebayo as the new Executive Secretary, Chief Executive Officer of the National Agricultural Land Development Authority. Mr. Adebayo is an engineer and also a community and social development expert. Authorities in Sudan have issued a 15-day ultimatum to foreigners to leave Khartoum, the capital, and the surrounding region starting from Friday, 12th July. In a statement from the Sudanese embassy in Nigeria, the governor of Khartoum, Ahmed Hamza, says the order directing foreigners to leave Sudan is designed to tackle insecurity in the country. He says the order is to preserve lives during the period of war, based on the decision of the Khartoum State Security Affairs Coordination Committee. The governor alleges that some nationals of the neighboring countries and from the region have become key fighters and mercenaries in the ranks of the Militia Rapid Support Forces. The power struggle between General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo for control of Sudan has been devastating, with records showing that thousands have been killed, millions displaced internally, and hundreds of thousands have fled to neighboring countries. Kenya's Inspector General of Police, Japhet Koome, has resigned a day after President William Ruto dismissed almost his entire cabinet. Uche Ugochukwu reports that this follows weeks of violent protests against proposed tax hikes, which resulted in the loss of more than 40 lives.
Kenya's police chief has resigned after criticism of officers' conduct during recent anti-government demonstrations in which dozens of protesters were killed. The presidency said in a statement on Friday that President William Ruto has accepted the resignation of Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome, who has occupied the position since November 2022. Deputy Inspector General Douglas Kanja has been appointed acting police chief with immediate effect. The announcement came a day after President Ruto sacked nearly his entire cabinet in response to the demands of protesters. Some of the young people behind the demonstrations had called for Kwame to go, with police accused of using excessive force during the protest. Kenya's National Rights Watchdog said at least 39 people were killed in the anti-government protests. Meanwhile, some welcomed the cabinet announcement, while other young Kenyans who are frustrated with Ruto's failure to deliver on his 2022 election promises to create jobs and boost their fortunes are not appeased. The protest, which was initially peaceful, sharply escalated when police fired at crowds who stormed the parliament on June 25. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
5 inmates suspected to be from Somalia's Al-Shabaab jihadist group and a guard were killed on Saturday in gunfire during an attempted breakout from the main prison in the capital, Mogadishu. Security sources say jailed members of the Al-Qaeda-linked group, who have been waging insurgency for years, managed to obtain weapons and launched what appeared to be a well-planned bid to escape the prison. Witnesses living near the prison compound reported hearing the sound of grenade explosions and machine gun fire. Al-Shabaab has carried out numerous bombings and attacks in Mogadishu, as well as other parts of the troubled country, although few have been recorded in recent months. The group has been fighting to oust the central government in Mogadishu for more than 17 years. On its part, the government has joined hands with local clan militias to fight the Islamist militants in a campaign supported by an African Union force and US air strikes. Now, as Joe Biden took to the stage for a rally in Detroit, Michigan, on Friday evening, one of the most raucous crowds seen in recent years at any event for the US president chanted, "Don't you quit." the presumptive Democratic nominee was greeted by deafening cheers from hundreds of supporters as he vowed, "I am running and I'm gonna win." At least 80 Democratic politicians have publicly backed the 81-year-old, and more are joining them as he insists he is going nowhere. To many, his political record, his principles, and his 2020 victory over Donald Trump mean more than the damage of a rambling performance in any debate or public appearance or health fears during a new 4-year term. 50 years on, both Greek and Turkish Cypriots still hope for a solution from an invasion that carved the island of Cyprus in two. Ugochukwu has details.
The breakaway Turkish Cypriot state in North Cyprus hopes to end its international isolation as the Mediterranean island marks 5 decades of division.
I've been saying to my colleague down there, the Greek there, I want my sovereignty to be reaffirmed. Not recognized, it's already there. You got to reaffirm or re-acknowledge my sovereignty so that I will have the opportunity to sit to discuss with you once again the Cyprus problem with all these aspects so that we can find a just and sustainable solution.
July 2024 marks the 50th anniversary of Turkey's invasion of the north, 5 days after a coup orchestrated in Athens by the junta in power which sought to unite the whole island with Greece. The invasion's aftermath effectively divided the island along ethnic lines, with some 170,000 Greek Cypriots fleeing the north to be replaced by some 40,000 Turkish Cypriots displaced from the government-held south. The rejection of a UN peace plan by Greek Cypriot voters in a 2004 referendum meant Cyprus entered the European Union that year, still a divided island, with Turkish Cypriots denied the full benefits of membership.
It's not comfortable to show my ID, to go to the other side, that it's also my country, my side.
UN-backed efforts to reunify the island as a bizonal, bicommunal federation have been at a standstill since the last round of talks collapsed in 2017. The Turkish Cypriot leadership says with the UN-backed reunification talks dead, a two-state resolution is the only way forward. Greek Cypriot leaders say they remain committed to the UN-backed process. Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Back here in Abuja, 4 persons have been rescued by search and rescue operatives at the scene of the collapsed 2-story building along the Tutu area, Kubwa Federal Capital Territory. Onotu Yakubu, who monitored the situation, brings us an update.
It was about 6 in the morning when some of the occupants began hearing sounds of the building walls cracking. Eyewitness accounts say while they rushed to evacuate the 2-story building, the west wing eventually caved in, trapping 4 of the residents in the rubble.
The only thing I know that is about 36 rooms, but I don't really know the actual people because some people are couples, some people are single, or maybe visitors, so I can't really tell how many.
But before now, have there been any signs that business like that?
Yeah. I've not even noticed any sign. It was just like I've not even noticed any sign. The building are going to collapse.
Search and rescue operation began immediately at the site following distress calls. About 5 hours later, this 4th victim of the building collapse was successfully rescued alive by emergency workers.
So far, we have been able to rescue 4 people alive. 2 people are in the hospital, others were on hot. Well, the rescue operation is still ongoing. We are not going to call off these rescue operations unless the part of the building that has collapsed, unless we get to the bottom of it.
Construction companies or individuals that are constructing buildings, most of the times they don't follow the rules. So the development control need to step up their game in monitoring the construction activities going on. That's the only advice we have to give.
Although there is no report of any further victim trapped in the building, the earth-moving equipments are still digging through the rubble with intent to get to ground zero and ascertain the situation before the operation can be called off. The two-story collapsed building was said to have initially been erected as a hotel before undergoing remodeling twice, first for a hospital and now a 35-rooms residential apartment. In Abuja, Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
All right, we'll take a quick break now. More reports shortly. Stay with us. For staying with us, First Lady Oluremi Tinubu is saddened by the news of the collapsed school building in Jos, Plateau State, in which several students were killed, as well as a teacher. The First Lady condoles with the Governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, the bereaved families, and all people of the state, while noting that it is disheartening to lose these children with a promising future. The First Lady prays that God comforts those who are affected by the tragedy and grants them the strength to bear the devastating loss. And the All Progressives Congress has commiserated with the government and people of Plateau State over the sad incidents of the building collapse at St. Academy School, Busa Buji in Jos North local government area of the state. In a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Felix Moka, the sad incident was highly disturbing and urged the victims' families and the state to bear the disaster and take solace in God Almighty, as He alone can comfort them. The statement also appreciated the efforts of relevant stakeholders in disaster management to save lives and appealed for a thorough investigation into the incident. Nigeria is hosting its first ever international conference on biotechnology, which is expected to draw scientists from all around the world to Abuja. The Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency, Professor Abdullahi Mustafa, says the conference will bring together leading scientists, researchers, policymakers, industry experts, and entrepreneurs from around the world to discuss and explore the potential of biotechnology in driving economic growth. He stated that important industries, including agriculture and health, would be covered during the conference, including how to use biotechnology in the former to increase crop yields and ensure sustainable food security, and the latter to diagnose, cure, and prevent diseases.
Our discussions will cover the development of locally produced biopharmaceuticals, vaccines, diagnostic tools that can address prevalent diseases in Nigeria and improve public health. Environmental sustainability. Environmental biotechnology will be another critical area of focus. We will examine how biotechnological solutions can address environmental challenges such as pollution, waste management, and renewable energy production, contributing to a greener and more sustainable economy.
Professor Mustafa also said scientists will discuss biotechnology approaches to pollution reduction, climate change mitigation, and conservation. Meanwhile, as climate change continues to affect food security across Africa, and with the Russia-Ukraine war causing difficulty in fertilizer supply, the governments of Nigeria and the leadership of other African countries must take collective action to unlock the continent's agricultural potential to become a global breadbasket. President of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, made the recommendation at a 3-day meeting of African primates of the Anglican Church in Abuja. Olusheye Adiago has details.
In a recent World Vision report, more than 1 billion people in Africa struggle to afford a healthy diet, with a high rate of malnutrition. No less than 280 million people are said to be hungry. Providing an overview, President of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, says food insecurity in Africa may be attributed to hunger, which is contributing almost half of children's deaths. In Nigeria alone, about 2.5 million people do not have enough to eat.
Policy consistency is critical to achieve food security and food self-sufficiency. The all too frequent policy reversals and politicization of food production has hurt Nigeria and now risks permanently destroying its own agriculture. But we will continue to support Nigeria, and we will continue to do all we can to turn things around. But we must determine that we will feed ourselves with pride.
Prime Minister of the Council of the Anglican Province of Africa say the engagement is to share knowledge on religious institutions' role in agricultural investments to help drive development in the continent.
We must be happy to identify ourselves as Africans. We must promote peace and discourage outside dictations and reliance. Our mission forever remains responding to the needs of the world, and there are many needs today that are emerging on a daily basis, including food insecurity.
In a world filled with counterfeit gospels and false promises, we are called to be instruments of authentic life, shining the light of Christ in the darkness.
The meeting with the team Council of the Anglican Province of Africa, an instrument of authentic life for Africa as Anglican primates from 15 African countries in attendance. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Some party politics now. The new Nigeria People's Party will now be having a new logo in election ballot papers, with effect from the November 16th, 2024 off-season governorship election in Ondo State. The National Working Committee of the party has officially presented the new logo to Nigerian voters. David Ayre reports.
Logo of our party.
The move to change the party logo, flag and motto took center stage after the 2023 general elections. In a post-election report, the party believed that the design and color separation of its logo made it difficult for easy identification by voters, hence the party lost the presidential election. The new logo, the NW says, is devoid of ambiguity and will be easy for identification no matter the size of the ballot paper.
Let me also use this medium to call on all states in independent electoral commissions, SIECs, across the country to take notice of this new development in the democratic journey of this country. All state independent electoral commissions should feature this new logo in ballot papers for local government elections in all states of the Federation.
White, which is in the center, represents peace. There is nothing in this country that is more precious than peace. We need it by all means.
Leaders of the party are convinced that the restructuring they have carried out to ensure internal party discipline will set it for victory in all future elections.
We are building our party at all levels, and it's getting stronger and stronger by the day. So we are very much encouraged. We are so happy that we have got a party today that is growing more than any other party in this country.
The party is making education its primary objective for Nigerians with the motto, Education for All. In Abuja, David Ayre, NTA News.
Now, barely a week after carrying out the investiture of its 26th president, the Rotary Club of Wuse Central and Partners have begun the realization of one of its areas of focus with the planting of 300 economic trees in Abuja to combat the impact of climate change. Charles Alpha has details.
Protection of the environment is one of the 7 key areas of focus for Rotary International. At the end of the 2024-2025 Rotary Magic Year, the Rotary Club of Wuse Central's target of planting 2,000 trees would have been realized if everything goes as planned. President of the club, Tomola Emalekun, Centenary Forest UK and the Abuja Park and Recreation share similar vision of fighting problem of deforestation and rise in temperature.
We are having two phases of planting, but today we are planting 300 trees. So the second phase may likely come up before the end of the month or early August.
They are assisting us, collaborating with us to plant trees, and that's what we are urging everybody to plant trees.
The consequence of carbon emission into the atmosphere is really impacting on the environment.
Rotarian and Director NTA International, Sarah Sander, and past District Governor, Rotary International, Ayola, believe this initiative is part of efforts to support governments.
And we all know the importance of planting trees to the environment. It gives us oxygen, it supports the ecosystem, biodiversity, it helps in land degradation.
We should not wait for government to do everything for us. In our homes, plant a tree.
From here, the club intends to delve into its other areas of primary concerns, which are health, water sanitation, empowerment, economic and community development. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
And before we go, here is a quick look at Sunday's weather prospects. And that concludes the news on NTA International. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunloye.